all down, guys, let's get things started with this. Easily one of the most anticipated things I've had coming to TV this year was season 2 of The Last of Us. Now, I thought Last of Us 2, the game, was probably, I won't say probably, it is the greatest storytelling I've ever seen in a video game. For me personally, I just thought it was just absolutely riveting. And so I had high hopes for season 2, understanding that the story of the second game was going to be split up into 2 different seasons. Well, the reviews, not just social media reactions, the reviews for The Last of Us season 2 are now out, and they're pretty damn stellar. Now, most of them say it's dark, it's brutal, it's heartbreaking, it's peak TV, they even called it. But a lot of them also note that on the other side of the coin, it'll feel a little incomplete because it is indeed just half of the story of Last of Us 2. Here's what some of them talked about. GameFragger gathered these up. We got one from Variety. It says, Variety's review mentions that the new focus makes for an even grimmer version of a show that could already be a difficult watch, but allows Ramsey in particular to evolve their protagonist from a wisecracking kid to a deeply scarred young adult. The Wrap, the trade says, just like the game, The Last of Us Season 2 is well constructed and engaging to experience, though the greatest impact comes from the cycles of violence continuing to unfold. The Hollywood Reporter similarly praised the series. Its verdict does explain its lasting impression is one of anticlimax, as it becomes apparent that the answer to most of the questions it raises is, you'll see next season. Again, there it is, the split between the two. A 5-star review from Empire ends with, moving and devastating in equal doses. The Last of Us remains post-apocalyptic television at its peak. At almost every turn, it delivers. Pray to the video game adaptation gods that season 3 sticks the landing. Total Film wasn't quite so keen and writes, The Last of Us Season 2 captures the unimaginable grief of its source material with brilliant performances and visceral scenes of brutal violence, but ends abruptly and fails to live up to the true magic of the first season. Again, kind of alluding to the fact that this is only kind of half the season. At any rate, there was some concern amongst some people that they wouldn't be able to follow through on what they were able to accomplish in season 1. Season 1 of The Last of Us, I'm not going to say is the greatest season of television I've ever seen, but is honestly going to be in the conversation with me. Like from now on, whenever I talk to people about some of my absolute favorite seasons of television, Last of Us Season 1 is going to be in that conversation somewhere. I absolutely loved it. And from what I'm reading from the ones I just read and others, it sounds like they drilled down even deeper into the whole, the darkness of it and trying to find a way. Now, look, one of my favorite things, the favorite thing of mine about the story of Last of Us 2 was it touches on one of my favorite themes, which is what pain can do to people and how pain can change people. I love it when movies or TV shows really want to embrace that theme. And this one takes it even further about what pain can do to even the best of people. And what it does to some people turns some people off from the story of The Last of Us 2. They didn't like that certain characters turned out certain ways. But to me, it was an amazing exploration of that whole theme. And it looks like Last of Us Season 2 is going to follow through on that. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungryroot. Okay, so I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. Spring hits and suddenly life goes from like 0 to 100. Busy season is officially in full swing over here. And honestly, who's got time to go grocery shopping? That's where Hungryroot comes in. See, because Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper. I told them my goals and they started curating groceries for me that actually fit my life. Be it smoothies, snacks, salad kits, even ready to eat meals. All clean ingredients, no artificial junk. This week, I got the grilled turkey tenderloin with pesto grilled veggies, and it was amazing. And I got my usual protein-packed snacks. It's like they're learning my taste better than I even know myself. And the best part is, I don't have to waste time driving to the grocery store and wandering the aisles. That's time I can spend doing literally absolutely anything else. Guys, I love Hungryroot. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea. Anyway, Rob, you read a bunch of the reviews coming out, the feedback we're getting for Last of Us Season 2. What were your hopes going into the next season, and what are you making of the reviews we're hearing so far?
Well, I'm just happy that we have another wholesome family program that everybody can enjoy together on a
for the whole
night.
family.
No, I mean, it's obviously, for those who know the game, the story's going to go into a certain direction, and I think that, look, like everything, I want great stories well told, and Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann knew exactly what they were doing with this adaptation. It's not just one of the great video game adaptations, it's one of the great adaptations, period, of something from one medium into another. And I didn't think there was a misstep at all in season 1. And a lot of these reviews bring up the fact that the only problem they had with it is that it's split into 2 seasons.
Right. And
I mean, I don't even see that as a complaint, because you're so engrossed in the story, you want the rest of it right now. So I think this is really exciting. And, genre television, anything that we get that's science fiction, fantasy, and horror related, and I consider this a horror show. And if it's great, I love it, because it's a genre I've loved my whole life. And to see what something like this does is it sets a bar for everything within the genre, whether it's movies, whether it's television, whether it's video games. I just think it's great for everybody, especially anybody who's a genre fan, to have peak A-list horror on a Tiffany network is awesome.
I like the way you put that. Chris, I mean, obviously I know you really enjoyed season 1. Where have your expectations and hopes been for season 2, and how do those line up with what we're hearing from the reviews so far?
I have high hopes, but also I know that the second game is devastating.
Yeah.
So I feel like I had a different perspective going into this than a lot of these critics of, I did not think this would be the full game to completion in 1 season, because why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you rush when you already have existing story? Why would you try to burn through it so quickly? You have to remember, when you do these games, it's hours upon hours of gameplay, and that's how you get to create this kind of symbiotic relationship with the game. The agency, the character experiences, you experience, right? And so that's why these games are so effective, because you are so emotionally and intrinsically tied to them as a player. HBO has the really hard sell then of, how can we still create that without you being the one who's pulling the strings, right?
Yeah.
They did a beautiful job of that in season 1. Season 2, I've always assumed was going to end with that really horrible thing, or the penultimate episode of the season would end with the really horrible thing. So I feel like we also have to connect season 1 to this. We have a nice time gap between the games, right? We do a little time jump. We got to kind of make sure we're up to speed with everything that happens here. So I feel like they landed the pacing so well season 1. I'm not worried about season 2. And if I'm left with questions, I, as a viewer, kind of love that, because I want to keep watching this show. I don't want The Last of Us to go on forever, but I certainly want it to be more than 2 seasons. But it is really good to see that people are enjoying the heartbreak aspect of this, how just like devastating this can be, because I do expect this to be something that's a gut punch. There's a reason why I don't want to binge The Last of Us. I want a well-paced show that's going to break my heart.
And I know a lot of people have brought up the question, because there's a particular devastating event that happens very early in the second game. And so a lot of people have been wondering about, how do you stretch out, how do you push that event back? And my answer to that has been this: Last of Us season 1, episode 3. That was a scene that was an entire episode that was really just something that kind of minorly alluded to in the game, but they made a full episode, made a full story out of something, a story within a story. And it arguably was maybe the best single episode of television in the last 5 years. If Mazin can continue to do that and really flesh this out, I don't see there being any problem, like you were saying, Chris, of pushing this to the second last episode, the particular devastating event, or even the last episode of the season. So I think they'll be able to do it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, the first reviews for Last of Us Season 2 are amazing. Did you like Season 1? Did you love it? Maybe it wasn't for you and you didn't enjoy it so much. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.